Hi everyone. This lesson is on combining like terms and distributive property, and we are going to do this by using the properties, the cumulative, associative, and distributive property. The top three are review, but please watch this from combine like terms down because this is new to you, even if you've combined like terms before. So for number one, we're just going to review distributive property. So I'm going to distribute out the 8, and that becomes 8x plus 8. Number 2, you see a negative sign there, so I'm going to be distributing negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 3 is 3x. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Number 3, same thing. I'm going to distribute negative 1. And that becomes negative 2x. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. So those are a review of the distributive property. Now 4, 5, and 6 are also the distributive property, but you'll notice in 4, the number to be distributed is after the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute 3 to the other two terms just like before. So 3 times negative 3, negative 9x. 3 times negative 5, negative 15. For number 5, I'm distributing negative 2. So negative 8x minus 14. For number 6, now I have 3 terms in parentheses, but I can distribute to all terms in parentheses. It doesn't matter how many there are. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10. Then I will combine the numbers, and that becomes 6x plus 14. Okay? So now that we have done the distributive property, we are going to now use the distributive property. So I'm going to rewrite the following problems using the distributive property in order to show why you can combine like terms. So this is why we can combine them. So if you look at number 1, there's an x in both of those terms. So if I pull the x out and put it on the outside of parentheses, okay, so I'm left with 2 plus 3 in parentheses times x. Then when I go to simplify, I can do 2 plus 3, which is 5, and I get 5x. So that's why we're able to combine like terms. We're going to do the same for 2. Pull the x out. So we're working the distributive property backwards. 3 plus 5 is 8, minus 7 is 1x, which is also just x. Number 3, same thing. I'm going to take the x out and put it outside of the parentheses. And then negative 2 plus 9 is 7, minus 5 is 2, and 2x. So that's the reason why I can combine like terms. The only reason that I can do this is because of the distributive property. So now we are going to use the commutative, the associative, and the distributive property to combine like terms in these two problems in the table. So first, for the first one, I'm going to use the commutative property, which says I can switch numbers, the order and addition. So I'm going to switch those two and rewrite this. So it's 2x plus 5 plus 8x plus 3. Okay. Actually, I just messed that up. Let me fix that. I want to switch them, which I did not do the first time. So it should be 2x plus 8x plus 5 plus 3. Now I switch them using the commutative property. So I just switched the 8x and the 5. Now I'm going to use the associative property and put terms together. So I'm going to associate 2x plus 8x and 5 plus 3 because those are like terms. Now I'm going to use the distributive property, and I only need to use the distributive property on the two terms that have x, just like I did in the step before. So I'm going to leave 2 plus 8 and pull the x outside the parentheses. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. I can simplify that. And then 2 plus 8 is 10, so I end up with 10x plus 8. And that is an equivalent expression, meaning that is equal to the beginning. And in fact, all of those in the same column are equal to each other. One of the things you have to do during the Algebra 1 Regents is justify why you are doing a step using a property. So that is what we are practicing right now, is how do the properties work when I'm combining like terms. Okay, so now we're going to do the second one. And we have to use the commutative property first, but I can only use the commutative property with addition and multiplication. Right now I have subtraction in this problem. So the first thing I need to do, and I'm going to write this above just for lack of space, is I need to rewrite subtraction as adding a negative. Okay, because now that it's all addition, I can use the commutative property. And I'm going to move it around so that the x's are at the beginning and the numbers are at the end using the commutative property. Then I'm going to use the associative property. So I'm going to associate 5x plus x and associate 1 plus negative 6. Okay. Now I'm going to use the distributive property just on this section. So when I pull the x out, I end up with 5 plus 1, because there's a 1 in front of the x. And then I can simplify 1 plus negative 6 is negative 5. Okay, 5 plus 1 is 6, so 6x plus negative 5 is the same as minus 5. So I was able to write an equivalent expression. So remember, we're doing why can we do this? And those three properties are the reason why we can combine like terms and why we can circle and square numbers and variables and combine them. So if you look at number 1, I have 11x plus 11x. Okay, so I can combine those, and that's because of the distributive property that I can do 11 plus 11 times x, which is 22x. Okay, for number 2, and now we can circle. So I'm doing 5x minus 2x, or 5x plus negative 2x, which is 3x. Then I'm going to box the numbers. 4 plus 1, which is 5. So I use the commutative property, the associative property, that's really what my circles and squares are, and the distributive property gave me the 3x. And then let's look at 3. So I'm going to circle, and it's negative 7n, because remember, minus 7n is the same as plus negative 7n. So I can do negative 7n minus 2n, which is negative 9n. Going the box 6 minus 8, which is negative 2. Okay, so I was able to simplify those 3 using the properties. Right now you are going to do the practice problems. So you need to do the practice on the first page, follow exactly what we did on the notes. It's the same directions. And then you will simplify each expression. And then on the second page, there's more to practice. 15 through 18 are like what we did on the Google Meet today. Okay, so please email me if you have any questions at all, and I will see you next Monday. Make sure you're ready to review for the test. Have a good rest of the day.